I'm going to say something and it may be triggering, so fair warning, but here goes. Here's the truth, guys. Women don't want to date men who have mental health issues. I recently received a message from a guy who has been dating this woman for 4 to 5 months now, and he recently came to her talking about a bad day he was having and some of his mental health struggles, and her response was to say, I don't want to handle that right now. I need a few days to myself. And he's wondering what's happening. So here's the TLDR version of what I'm about to talk about, all right? Here are 5 reasons, right? Number 1, she sees it as a weakness. Number 2, they are more built for empathy and listening and not for solving Herculean problems. Number 3, you not having your mental health together threatens her safety, both physical and mental. Number 4, you can't have 2 emotionally unpredictable people under one roof. And number 5, it causes her overwhelm. So, for the rest of you, I'm going to go into this guy's message. I'm going to stop along the way and point out some things. And then I'm going to get into a deeper dive into the 5 points that I just made. If you guys have a question you want answered to one of these shows, leave it in the comments or go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and click the contact tab. While you're at the website, check out the other various coaching options that are available to help you become your better self at dating. So let's get into this guy's message and then we will get into the reasons, right? So he goes, we've known each other for longer than we dated. We've been dating for, I'd say, maybe 4 to 5 months. And we're both aspiring psychiatrists. And so we are very open with our mental health. And she's aware I've been having my struggles, although most of the time I keep a positive mindset and we have a lot of fun together, which is good because when women are dating you, they're looking to have a good time with you. They're looking to have some fun times with you. They're looking for some good hookups, and they're not trying to get into situations that are going to be overtly stressful. Life itself is already stressful enough without either person adding to those struggles by not having fixed their issues prior to being in the relationship. Continuing. He says, we've been great. She brought up the relationship part earlier when we were dating, but honestly, I was not ready. And so we agreed to keep growing organically. I don't know what the growing organically part means for you, but I will say this guy literally just pointed out the thing I tell you guys all the time. When women are ready for a relationship, they will come to you and ask about getting into a relationship. So take the onus, men, off of you having to go to her to ask to be the boyfriend, because at the point that they like you and they have built up time and trust with you, usually around the 2nd to 3rd month mark, they will come to you and start asking to be in a relationship. If you do it sooner than that, then more often than not, it's too soon for them because they haven't fully done their due diligence on you, and that can cause them to want to pull away, etc., etc. So continuing, he says, we text every day. And at first, we saw each other like 4 times a week, but we decided to mainly see each other on days off and weekends due to busy school schedule for both of us. So already, here's where the chink in the armor starts. Because I tell you guys, when you start dating a woman, you should be asking her out for a date once a week. And in between dates, you shouldn't be reaching out to her to contact. Like if there's going to be any kind of contact that happens, she'll reach out to you first. But this gives it time to build naturally, and that way it won't cause burnout later down the road. Seeing a woman 4 times a week, every single week, on top of you texting her every single day, can start to cause burnout and overwhelm, especially if either person has like mental health issues. That can be more than they're ready to deal with at that time. He says, point is, we have great communication. And she's expressed multiple times that she's never met someone with such great communication skills and chemistry. And this is great. You always want to have them being the ones to verbally express to you, like, how much they like you, what they like about you, how much they care for you. These are all great things. Let them be the ones to handle the heavy burden of being verbal with that stuff. And you focus on the actions that are showing that and making her feel that. All right. Continuing, he says, I opened up to her about struggles with my mental health on Tuesday, and she tried giving me tips to deal with it and proceeded to say, quote, I'm taking a break / step back from this, and I will reach out when I'm ready. And she's done that once before. She's struggling with her mental health as well sometimes, and she told me the first time that she doesn't want to get brought down by me, which is fair enough, although I don't cling on her in times like that. So here's where the big problem arises, where he is now starting to express more and more these mental health issues that he's having, and she seems to be pushing him away. Now, some of you might look at that and say, that's not a caring action. That's not somebody I want to be with. If she's saying that my mental health struggles are a burden to her, then why would I want to be with her in the first place? And that's not fair. I literally just did a video a couple of days ago telling you guys why you shouldn't date women that have depression. I had a doctor write me and say that they didn't like my take on that. But the bottom line is that if she hasn't dealt with her depression in a way that's going to actually like lessen the burden for you, then that's not fair for her to come into that relationship with you with all these issues that she has unresolved. Well, guess what, guy? It's now your turn. And I feel the exact same way about you as a man having mental health issues that you have not thoroughly worked through, because it's going to add a lot more burden and things to the relationship that she's not going to want to deal with. Now, you might also say this and say, but Harry, you just said that she also has mental health issues and he was cool with dealing with her stuff. What's the big deal? Well, this gets into where, sorry guy to say, things aren't fair. And I'm going to go into the 5 reasons why women don't want to date men with mental health issues. Just to give you an insight into the kind of things that women are looking at and thinking and feeling when you come to them and say, oh, by the way, I have all these issues. And you're thinking you want to do that to be able to share with them. But here's what's going through their head. All right. So here's the first thing. Number 1, the reason why they don't want to deal with men that have mental health issues, because they see it as a weakness. Now, here's the thing, right? They're looking for a guy that is strong. And strong men, they do go through stuff. They do have mental health issues, but they are doing the work on themselves to get them properly fixed, ideally before it becomes a bigger issue. So they're looking at you to be a guy that when he sees a problem, he's going to go handle it. You having a mental health issue is a problem. And if you're coming to her trying to bear the burden of your soul by telling her about all these mental health issues, that means you're essentially not handling this outside of her. And that's a problem because women don't want to fix you, which I'm going to get into in a little bit more. But yeah, they're also looking at you to be that strong rock that they can go to when they're having issues. So if she's wanted to go to you because of the two of you, you're the taller one, you're the one that has more muscle. So psychologically, you're the stronger one that's supposed to be able to handle a lot more issues, and you can't even handle your own issues, then that's going to turn women off. Is it fair? I don't think it's fair at all, but I could talk to you about what women should change about themselves to be able to be more accepting of that reality, but they're not built like that. They are designed to see their man as a strong person, and you coming to them with health problems is displaying a level of weakness that they might not be prepared for. The second reason is because women they're more built for empathy and listening, and they're not really the best at being able to solve Herculean problems like fixing your mental health. All right. Now, this isn't to say there aren't women out there that aren't therapists and psychiatrists that you could go to and they couldn't fix your problem. They very well could, but you're not dating those women. So they have a disassociation and a detachment from you whereby they can fix your problem. And then those same women psychologists will go home to their man and hopefully not have to fix his problems. All right. So to that point, a woman might be able to feel for you and understand you're going through a lot and that you've had stuff in the past that caused you to have these mental health conditions. And she really feels and understands the pain and sorrow and sadness you're going through. And she can feel that and feel sorry for you. That does not mean that she then wants to go there with you to fix the actual problems, because that is a lot of work to do to try to help you. And I'm going to get into that later down this list also. But suffice to say that just because she feels sorry for you doesn't mean that she now wants to date you. And I know if you're like me, there are plenty of times in the past where I was like, oh, if I tell a woman my sob story, she'll feel sorry enough for me to want to stick by my side. So I'm going to tell her about all the girls in the past that dumped me, or the hard time I went through with this previous person I was dating, in hopes that I can be the shoulder, they can have the shoulder that I can cry on. And those women would feel sorry for me and then date somebody else. Or worse, not date someone else at all, just didn't want to date me. So start to learn very, very fast that just because they feel sorry for you doesn't mean that that gives way to they want to now be around you when you're having those issues. Again, is it fair? It's absolutely not. And ladies, hey, keep me honest. If what I'm saying is bullcrap, let me know in the comments, all right? The third reason they don't want to date men with mental health issues is because you not having your mental health together threatens her safety, both physical and mental, all right? Think about in our society, what has typically happened with men that have mental health issues? What kind of things do they do? In what ways do they retaliate or show that they have mental health issues? They unalive fellow friends at schools with various weapons. They go and start spreading rumors about people. They off themselves or their loved ones. Like, there's a serious threat out there that we see that can happen when men have not gotten their mental health together. You also got to look at like the various emotional safeties. Look at men like Kanye. Look at men like Pete Davidson. Look at men like Machine Gun Kelly. Look at men like Stephen Twitch Boss. All of these men had mental health issues. They all have had women, and you can see the turmoil that they put their women through. Or in the case of Stephen Twitch Boss, he unalived himself and left his woman here by herself, right? And so you have to look at that and say, if women are looking at these guys that had mental health issues and saw the results of their actions, what chance do you then, guy, now have that you tell a woman, hey, I have mental health issues. And she's going to be like, oh boy, you do? That's great. I want to help you. Because what she's seen in society examples is that can turn violent real quick. That can turn unstable real quick. And women, even though like we talk about how in the dating phase, women like a little mystery about a guy, mystery is cool. Unstableness is not something women want to be around because that also threatens their physical safety and their, violence and stuff like that. On top of, again, emotional safety. Can this woman actually now trust you? There are plenty of men that have mental health issues that use women for their money, for their cars, for position, for all these other things, and then leave her in the dust or leave her with next to no money, crying on the floor. Like, there's so many things that can be unpredictable about you for her when you have a mental health issue. Now, I know somebody's going to say, but women can be that way too. That's absolutely true. I wouldn't recommend that you date a woman with mental health issues either, but there's various reasons for why women can go through times and periods where they might not feel as emotionally stable as usual, which we'll get into for reason number 4, which is you can't have two emotionally unpredictable people under one roof. Now, for women, they got a great excuse. They got hormones. So from week to week, because of their cycle, their hormones are changing. And so they're going to already be at some level of unstableness. And it might not be like, 1 week she's happy, 1 week she's sad. It could be 1 week she's extremely happy. The next week she's just kind of happy. The third week she's kind of feeling a little grouchy. And then the fourth week she's whatever. Like, it can ebb and flow. But the point is that to her, how she is on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis is already going to be kind of unstable just based on her hormones, right? So she's already feeling unstable. She might occasionally go through some mental stuff based on where she's at in her hormone cycle. She can't have you also be that way. And so let's say you hit her up, when you went to this girl, let's say you went to her on a week where she's on her period, right? So she's already feeling kind of like antsy about herself, maybe not the most confident or whatever. And then you go to her and say, hey babe, I'm having a mental health issue and I don't feel confident. Oh, I had a stressful day and this thing's making me bug out and blah, 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 blah. You now have two unstable people. But realistically, women's safety takes precedent because they have a lot more threats in terms of the physical world than we do. So you coming to her and saying you have mental health issues going on and that now makes her see you as unstable and, you're showing some kind of weakness and all this other stuff. Do you think this now makes you an attractive candidate for her? Again, I'm sorry it's this way, but suffice to say, it does not make you a viable candidate. And then the 5th reason why women don't typically want to date men with mental health issues is because it causes overwhelm. Going back to the hormone example, on top of the hormone thing, they have their own problems going on that they're mulling over, and it's easier. I'm not going to say women can't do this, but I'm going to say it's typically easier for guys to be able to compartmentalize when things are going on. So let's say you have kids, right? And then, you had a bad day at work, you get home and you're mulling over that bad day. And now the kids have something that happened to them at work. And then you have at school, and then your wife has something happen to her. As a guy, that's a lot of problems, but we can better compartmentalize. Okay, I'm going to deal with Johnny's thing over here first. Then I'm going to deal with my wife's thing. And I'll get to my thing. Okay, go. Again, it's not that women can't do that because I think women are actually great at multitasking. But the problem is the reason they multitask so well is the negative part of this is that all that stuff for them swirls together, right? So that means that she's mulling over how this problem over here is actually causing an effect on this problem over here. And then this problem over here is causing an effect on this other problem, which goes back to that first problem over here. And that's already swirling in their brain, right? So then you're going to them and saying, oh, hey, by the way, I have my own problems. Now you're thinking you're just trying to vent just like she vents. But when you're venting, most women are smart enough to know at this point that men are problem solvers, right? So ideally, the woman you're with understands that if you're coming to her with ranting and raving, it's because you actually want help trying to solve your problem. Well, that goes back to reason number 2 is they're built for empathy and listening, not for solving your problem. So if you have a good woman and she legitimately doesn't want to see you in pain, that's great. But the problem is she's going to want to help with that problem. But now you've got mental health issue problems, which take a lot more energy and effort. And now she's going to tie those problems into all the other problems that she's trying to solve in her life. And it's going to start to swirl because she's not compartmentalizing them. She's adding it to the rotation of other things that's going on with her. And it's causing her to feel overwhelmed. On top of mental health issues, I understand that you guys are both trying to study to be psychiatrists, but realistically, if she's doing anything in the classroom involving psychology or whatever, or she's following somebody around during the day to try to like an intern or whatever like that, then she's already around this stuff all day long. She doesn't want to take her work home. So if she's reading about mental health stuff at school or, doing practice on mental health patients in the clinic or whatever, she gets home to you and then has to have more of that piled on. That's going to cause a lot of overwhelm. And again, I understand it is not fair, but I'm just giving you the perspective, understanding of why it is she may have pulled away, because she did pull away. You came to her and told her your mental health stuff when she already told you, hey, dude, I'm going through some stuff already. Ideally, she hasn't been burdening you with her stuff. But the point is that she's told you she's going through her own stuff, which means ideally she's going to other entities, other therapists, whatever, to get herself situated. And ideally, she's not bringing it to you. But the point is, even if she is, you should not be bringing yourself to her. Am I saying you should not talk to her about your problems? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that for this situation, recognize that you need to find other sources to deal with your mental health. If you're going through issues, find another guy mentor, find another therapist, whether it's a man or a woman. I think they can both do great jobs. But the point is, your mental health issues are going to be too much for her to be able to deal with and to be able to help you fix, especially if she's going through her own. And it's not fair to go to her and then expect her to be able to listen to all that and to be able to just dump it on her and say, well, because we're in a relationship, we should be able to both go to each other and, blah, 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 blah. Because I think that that's taken out of character. I think, honestly, that if you have problems of that magnitude, it's not your job to burden her with those problems. It's your job to fix those problems so that way you can be the even keel guy that she's able to go to when life is beating her down or whatever. And it's not to say that you can't ever go to her, but problems of this magnitude, it's not fair for you to go to her with them, all right? So, continuing on with his message, he says, it's been 2 days and I haven't heard anything. At the time, I had simply liked her message and didn't answer, seeing as she wanted space, and so I haven't texted her since. She's been posting on her story quite more often than usual, but now I don't know whether this is over or not and what to do. I haven't contacted her since that day, giving her space she needed. And as she said, she'll reach back when ready. And so I'm waiting for that. He says, we both don't have social media other than Snapchat, and she works from home, and we're very open with each other. So unless she's hiding it, I highly doubt there's another guy in the picture, and she knows I'm not seeing anyone else either. I don't blame her for taking care of her own mental health, although when in a relationship with someone, both parties should be there for each other during hard times. Okay. So like I said earlier, this is an example of if you're having mental health struggles, that's plural. That means it's going to be more than a hard time. Women are trying to date you in part to be able to have fun and go to somebody that's going to bring joy into their life. And what you're trying to do is say, now that we're in a relationship, I want to talk about serious stuff and I want to go to her and I want to be able to tell her all my problems. That's not what she signed up for. She signed up to get into a relationship, to have fun with the guy that she likes hanging out with. And you're ruining that by bringing on your mental health struggles. Now, again, I don't say this to not be empathetic. I empathize with you, guy. I've not ever been a person that's been overtly depressed. I've had times where I felt depressed about certain things. And in those small times, I realized it was my job to get me out of it. It was my job to talk to somebody, watch some videos, or go to my best guy friend and say, hey, I'm having these problems. Can we hash it out and see what's what? It is not my job to go to my woman and say, hey, babe, I'm having these problems that are mental again. I think we should talk about what my mental things are so you can give me a solution. Women don't want that. I'm sorry. From a position of strength, it's not something that women are looking at and are going to see you in a strong light. It's just not. And it's not fair. I empathize with you, guy. But as Kevin Samuels used to say, the world does not owe you understanding. Meaning that you can have mental health problems and the only one that really cares about that is you. So as much as your partner should be there for you, the reality is it's your job to care enough about yourself to fix your mental issues and go to the proper entities that can actually do this, that have been trained to do it, versus your girlfriend who, even if she's being trained to do it, isn't trying to do it at home with the person she's with. All right. So to answer your last question, should I just wait until she reaches out or should I reach out? Here's the thing, guy. She told you, hey, I need time away and I will reach out when I'm ready. Now, I already know what you want to do because I've been in the same situation. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to give her some time. And then 4 days are going to pass and you're going to get antsy. You're going to be like, oh, it's been 4 days. Oh my God, I didn't talk to her. Like, what do I do? And you're going to want to reach out to her. And guess what? You're going to lose because that's not respecting her wishes. The hardest part about a person pulling away from you with the instructions of, hey, I need time, I might get back to you, is the waiting period. Now, I don't like living in the land of maybe. I'm very much like, it's either a yes or no. So here's what I would suggest, all right? Because if you're not technically boyfriend and girlfriend, you haven't put titles on this thing, you've only been technically dating at this point. So I would say if you think this is salvageable or you think there's a chance she might come back, I would say wait 2 weeks. If within that 2 weeks time you do not hear from her, that should be a sign from you that you need to start looking elsewhere until such a time as she decides to reach out. At that point, get back on the dating apps, go back out there and start trying to find other women to date. And don't feel bad about it because if she's not contacting you, that is not a fair thing for her to be holding you and her relationship hostage. So give it 2 weeks. If she doesn't reach out, go out and date somebody else or find other women to go out on dates and stuff with. If she finds at some point that she wants to reach out and you decide you want to entertain that, then I'd say do that if you want to, but I wouldn't be waiting around too long, all right? And then also to the point, when she comes back, right? If she gets on you about, oh my God, how could you be seeing other people? You could say, hey, we weren't technically in a relationship yet and you were not talking to me and I don't roll that way. So either we're going to be in communication or we're not, but I'm not going to be waiting around and held hostage while you decide to not text me, not contact me, not see how I'm doing, not see what I'm up to. Like that's not fair to me. All right. So yeah, do that. And also very, very important, regardless of whether she reaches out to you or not, work on your mental health. Like seriously, go to somebody else, talk to somebody, find somebody to sign up with that you can start working on your issues because ultimately it is true. Ideally, both people in a relationship are able to lean on each other during hard times, but women don't want to be with a guy that is already bringing hard times into the relationship. So do the best you can to get to a point where you can get the majority of your issues fixed, where you can start to feel like you have more control of yourself and more control of what's going on in your life. Because I can tell you, yes, mental health issues are a real thing, but you also have the decision and choice to be able to, A, get help for those issues, and B, most importantly, decide how you want to react to stuff. Like a lot of mental health issues come from childhood traumas or things that we had a reaction to it in the moment that's been carrying over for years and years and years. And I had to be told at one point, hey, you have like the option on how you want to react to stuff. Like something bad happened in your past. You could decide to dwell on that. You could decide that you want this thing to hurt you and define the rest of your life, or you could decide to not let it bother you and or figure out how to get over it. Like you have that ability. You have the ability to control how you react to things and how you take things in. And again, a therapist, a psychiatrist, they can help you with exercises on how to do that because I'm not a licensed or trained professional. So again, if there are psychologists or therapists watching this that want to say, Harry, you're all screwed up about this, then leave in the comments what the guy should do because I'm not a medical professional. I'm just saying that I know that when I took control of my life and stopped making excuses for why all these bad things were happening, I had less stress in my life in general. So hopefully that can be a helpful pathway. But again, I'm not a doctor. Go see a doctor of some kind that works in the mental field, and hopefully that can help you out so that way your next relationship or the next entity you get with is not going to have the same issue pop up. All right? So hopefully, guy, this helps you out. I spent a lot of time with this, so if nothing else, consider leaving a Cash App at HarryWilmington because this was a lot to have to go through, all right? But in the meantime, for the rest of you guys, if you have a question you want me to answer on one of these shows, you can write to me by going to the introvertdatingsuccess.com and clicking on the contact tab. While you're there, please check out the other coaching options that we have, all designed to be able to help you become your better version of a dater while still getting your alone time. All right. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
You need to call her on her cell phone.